It is exactly 2 a.m. on their last night in the city. The luxury hotel room is completely silent, wrapped in a thick, expensive darkness, but Tu Na is wide awake. The harsh, cold blue light of her phone screen casts long, exhausted shadows across her face. Her thumb hovers over the security camera app, trembling just slightly. For 5 days, they have been away from the wooden house. 5 days of crisp, clean sheets, room service, and dazzling city lights meant to be a reward for years of breaking their backs in the dirt. But leaving the farm physically doesn't mean leaving the heavy burden behind. Tu Na's shoulders are rigidly tight, her jaw clenched. She is bracing her body as if preparing for a physical blow, fully expecting to see a broken bamboo fence, a flooded crop, or total chaos in the packing shed. Welcome back to our channel. If you've ever built a life from absolute zero, you know exactly why Tu Na cannot simply close her eyes and rest tonight. In the wide bed beside her, Alex and little Henry are sleeping peacefully. Their soft, rhythmic breathing is the only sound in the room. Henry's small, warm hand clutches the edge of the thick hotel blanket. His little dirt-stained sandals are neatly lined up by the door, completely out of place on the plush carpet. They are entirely safe here, but Tu Na's mind is 400 miles away, pacing the dusty yard of their home. After a long, agonizing pause, she finally taps the icon. The screen goes black, a loading circle spinning endlessly in the dark. She holds her breath. What is waiting for them in the shadows? The sterile, unfamiliar air conditioning hums steadily from the ceiling. It's too quiet. Tu Na misses the familiar sound of the night wind moving through the bamboo gate. She misses the uneven creak of their bedroom floorboards. Here, everything is flawless, but the perfection feels like a heavy coat she doesn't know how to wear. The calluses on her hands feel rough against the smooth glass of the phone. The trauma of their early years, when a single night of heavy rain or a broken lock meant losing an entire season's income and going hungry, still lives deep in her bones. When you spend your whole life in survival mode, peace feels incredibly dangerous. You start to believe that the moment you look away, the moment you drop your guard, everything you love will fall apart. The camera feed finally connects, slowly shifting into a grainy, green-tinted night vision view of their front yard. Tu Na pulls the phone closer to her face, the digital interface reflecting in her tired, anxious eyes. The familiar silhouette of the wooden house appears, rendered in that eerie, unnatural green light. The yard is completely empty. The packing shed is quiet, with the heavy tarps exactly where Alex tied them down. For a brief, fragile second, she lets out a small exhale. But then something moves. A dark shape shifts violently near the bamboo gate. Tu Na's heart hammers fiercely against her ribs. She sits bolt upright in the hotel bed, the mattress shifting slightly under her sudden movement. Alex murmurs in his sleep but doesn't wake. Her first instinct is blind panic. A thief. Someone knows the house is empty. All the neatly stacked boxes of tomatoes they spent weeks carefully harvesting. The expensive water pump Alex saved up for months to buy. It could all be stripped away in a matter of minutes. She violently pinches the screen to zoom in, her fingers slipping on the smooth glass, her chest tight with the familiar suffocating fear of losing everything. The pixels blur heavily, then slowly sharpen into focus. The suffocating tension in the room suddenly snaps, replaced by a wave of profound, humbling relief that leaves her completely breathless. It isn't a thief. The figure steps into the soft yellow pool of the front porch light. It's old Mr. High, their neighbor from down the dirt road. He is moving slowly, his back slightly bent with age, rhythmically carrying a long, handmade bamboo broom. In the dead of night, while the rest of the village is fast asleep, this elderly man is quietly sweeping the fallen leaves off their front steps. Tu Na watches him drag the broom across the dirt in a gentle, almost meditative motion. He pauses at the top of the steps to check the heavy iron padlock on their front door. He gives it a firm, deliberate tug to ensure it's perfectly secure, nods to himself, and then continues sweeping. He is doing this simply to keep their empty house looking lived in, to make sure anyone passing by on the dark road thinks someone is awake, watching, and protecting the property. The stark contrast hits her like a physical weight in the silent hotel room. Here she is, sitting in a luxury suite, using an expensive piece of digital technology to nervously police her life from afar. And there is Mr. Hai, using a 50-cent bamboo broom, protecting their family's home and livelihood with his own two hands. Tu Na watches the small glowing screen in the suffocating silence of the hotel room. On the grainy digital feed, Mr. Hai finishes sweeping the last few leaves. He steps up to the porch, his aged hands gripping the heavy iron padlock on their front door, and gives it one final solid tug. Satisfied, he turns, his handmade bamboo broom resting heavily on his shoulder, and slowly shuffles back out of the camera's view, disappearing into the pitch-black rural night. The dirt yard of the wooden house is empty once again. Tu Na is left staring at the motionless digital dirt. A thick, painful lump forms in her throat. For years, the trauma of poverty had trained her to be a suspicious overseer of her own life. When you are terrified of losing everything, you hold on so tightly that your own hands start to bleed. She realizes with a sudden sharp clarity that she has been using this camera not as a tool for safety, but as a crutch for her endless anxiety. She faces a silent, agonizing choice in the dark. She can leave the app open, burning her exhausted eyes until dawn, pretending that staring at a screen somehow protects the farm. Or she can finally press the disconnect button. It is the hardest physical movement she has made all week. Her thumb hovers over the red icon. Her breathing is shallow and uneven. To let go of control means accepting that you cannot physically protect everything at all times. But it also means allowing others to step up. With a deep, shaky breath, she presses the glass screen. The app closes. She places the phone face down on the wooden nightstand. The sudden plunge back into complete, uninterrupted darkness is jarring. For a long moment, she just sits there in the blackness, her heart pounding. Slowly, her rigid shoulders drop. The heavy, invisible armor she has worn since the day they bought that barren land begins to fracture. She lies back down, letting her head sink into the soft pillow, and finally allows her breathing to sync with the quiet, steady rhythm of her husband and child sleeping beside her. Morning arrives, breaking the heavy tension with bright, blinding city sunlight streaming through the tall hotel windows. The room becomes a flurry of quiet, deliberate movement. Alex carefully folds Henry's small, heavily washed shirts into the suitcase, pressing the air out of the fabric with his strong hands. Henry sits at the glass table, happily chewing on a warm hotel pastry, his little legs swinging beneath his chair. The contrast between this sterile, perfect room and the dusty life they are returning to is stark. But the true test of Tu Na's midnight choice happens right before they zip the heavy bags closed. Instead of silently opening the security cameras like she has done every morning for 5 days, she pauses. She watches as Alex pulls out his phone and initiates a daytime video call. The screen rings twice before Bartang's warm, deeply wrinkled face appears, squinting against the harsh morning sun of the countryside. There is no talk of a corporate delegation or rigid managerial check-ins. Before Tu Na can even ask if the property is safe, Bartang simply flips the camera outward, his calloused thumb covering the lens for a brief second. Let me ask you a question. What actually protects your home when you walk away? The phone screen fills with the vibrant, messy reality of their working farm. But it isn't in chaos. Bartang slowly pans the camera across the dirt yard. The heavy wooden harvest boxes are neatly stacked, perfectly aligned in the shade of the packing shed, safe from the blistering morning heat. Mrs. Puong is in the background, her sleeves rolled up, pulling tightly on thick ropes. She is carefully tying down the heavy canvas tarps over the delicate soil beds, making sure not a single corner is left loose. "Stop worrying." Bartang's rough, comforting voice crackles through the phone speaker, cutting through the quiet hotel room. "The tomatoes are packed exactly how you like them. The main gate is locked tight. The workers covered the beds last night before the heavy dew set in. We even swept the porch. Just rest, Tu Na. We have it." You don't build a sustainable farm through rigid corporate tracking systems and high-definition cameras. You cannot manufacture loyalty with a surveillance app. You build true security by treating your workers and your neighbors like family. When you build a community based on mutual respect, shared meals in the dirt, and genuine care, they will protect your home and your livelihood exactly as if it were their own. Even when you aren't watching. The video call ends, leaving a quiet, lingering warmth in the sterile hotel room. Tu Na sets the phone down on the smooth glass table. She doesn't flip it over in panic or frustration. She sets it down gently, with a profound, exhausting sense of peace. For years, she had worn a heavy, invisible armor. The hidden cost of escaping rural poverty is the paralyzing fear that ruin is always waiting right outside your door, ready to slip back in the exact moment you look away. Escaping to the city for a few days was supposed to be their ultimate reward, but instead it only magnified how heavily she carried that fear. Alex walks over, his thick, calloused hands gently resting on her rigid shoulders. Tu Na leans back against him, closing her tired eyes. The tough, stoic shell she has maintained for so many grueling seasons finally cracks. A single tear escapes, rolling down her cheek, but a genuine, relieved smile breaks across her face. "I really thought the farm would break without us," she whispers, her voice shaking just a little in the quiet room. "I thought we were the only ones holding it all together. But they took care of our home, Alex. Mr. Hai, Bartang, Mrs. Puong, they protected it." Alex softly kisses the top of her head, wrapping his strong arms securely around her. Nearby, Henry is cheerfully pushing his wooden toy truck across the plush carpet, completely unaware of the massive emotional weight his mother has just set down. "Alex," Tu Na says softly, turning to look up at her husband. "I want to go back. I miss our dirt." They finish zipping the heavy suitcases. The suffocating anxiety that trapped Tu Na at 2 in the morning is completely gone, replaced by an eager, quiet longing for the uneven floorboards and the rich smell of morning dew on the tomato vines. The transformation is silent but absolute. She has finally learned that you cannot hold on to a happy life with a clenched fist. True security isn't found in a glowing high-definition screen, a heavy iron lock, or a sleepless night of worry. It is found in the people you share your life with, the neighbors you feed, and the community you build in the dirt. Tu Na stands by the tall hotel window one last time. Outside, the dazzling cold city lights are fading into the busy morning traffic. It is a beautiful world, but it isn't theirs. On the bedside table, her phone remains completely dark. For the first time in years, her mind isn't anxiously policing the yard. Her heart is already miles down a dusty, winding road, heading back to the sturdy wooden gate that is patiently waiting for them. Have you ever struggled to let go of control after building something from nothing? Share your own story with us in the comments below. We read every single one. If this quiet moment resonated with you, please subscribe to our channel to walk alongside our family.